Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I thought that I would just give you guys a very quick collection update as to what has remained and of course what has been put into storage since my recent purge and of course a garage haul. For those of you who check those videos out, you know that before the purge video the collection was in such a bad state. We literally had an impending avalanche, we had figures piled on top of figures. However, I have in fact actually put quite a lot in storage and I definitely think that the collection is in a slightly more presentable state. Now you can see that this was the main area of which was in a dire need of a cleanup, and to be honest it looks completely different. None of these figures were in fact here before the purge, so you can see we've now got a few masterpiece figures such as the MPM Megatron. We've got there my Revenge of the Fallen custom leader Megatron, as well as some third party figures such as the AI Mech Scorn, and over here we've got the enormous Soap Studios Age of Extinction remote control Optimus Prime, looking absolutely fantastic. This guy has in fact actually been moved in order to accommodate an even bigger piece, of which I'll showcase in just a second, but you can see as we move down to this region, we've once again got more third-party figures, two Power of the Primes, as well as I believe Combiner Wars leader figures. I just could not get rid of these. To me, these were kind of the final proper leader class figures that we ever saw. These were massive. You can see we've got the Optimus Prime as well as Megatron. We've got there the Commander Skylinks, as well as a few new figures, such as the Premium Finish Megatron. And you can see as we just dip down, we've got Commander Rodimus Prime, Optimus Primal, Astro Train, as well as Megatron, and a new addition to the collection would be this KO MP44, almost Ultra Magnus redeco of Optimus Prime. I do in fact actually have a review coming up fairly shortly over on the channel for this guy. He's really well done. And of course we do have the majority of my Seeker collection, so you can see we've got all of the main Seekers as well as the Cone Heads. I just could not bring myself to put these into storage. They're such awesome molds. My only critique would be that they are very big Voyagers, especially taking into account their wingspan. And then as we just take a look here at this shelf, we've got there the Siege Springer, which I actually think is one of the best Voyagers we've seen from the entire War for Cybertron line. You can see we've got Junkyard, as well as buried tucked beneath there we've got also Wreck-Gar, Cup, as well as the amazing Cyber Factory Starstorm Bumblebee movie Starscream. Such a wicked piece, and that visor is just so awesome. And then this shelf actually became an almost designated green area, so you can see we've got Bulkhead, we've got Human Alliance Roadbuster. My goodness, that Bulkhead is just such a fantastic figure. We've got Bone Crusher, kind of breaking up the green motif, but then as we just take a look here, we've got Rhinox, as well as the Legacy Bulkhead and an AI Mech oversized version of Studio Series Optimus Prime. We've got Jetfire. To be fair, this shelf is mainly packed full of some of my older figures, such as Brawn, the original Ultimate Dark of the Moon Optimus Prime, or as he's known by many collectors as the Fairy Prime. We've also got Jetwing Prime buried beneath there, so you can see with the Human Alliance Bumblebee and Jazz propped on him. We've got Starscream, Sentinel Prime, Studio Series Leader Grimlock, as well as Striker Prime, and a new addition to the collection, of which isn't in fact actually Transformers related, would be this 3016 scale Demogorgon. This is honestly, it's just such a fantastic piece. You can see the attention to detail where those teeth are concerned is just remarkable. This is really well done. And then finally for this shelf, we do in fact actually have the KSI boss, or as I like to refer to him as, Nitro Zeus. So definitely looking a lot more presentable than when of course I did film my Purge video. This is definitely how I hope the collection will stay. Bringing out various different comparisons for reviews does not help the collection be tidy at all. Of course, I have to pull them out, and then if I'm being completely honest, laziness does get the better of me, and I tend to just sort of prop them on top of other figures, and before you know it, we've got an impending avalanche, much like we saw in the other video. But this isn't indeed the only shelf of which I've made modifications to, so let's take a look at some other areas in the collection. Here we have my almost main Generations display. So we've got the SDCC Quintesson Judge, we've got the new Studio Series Sharpticon, as well as Kranix and the Prosecutor. Buried beneath there, we've got the Netflix Megatron, as well as Coronation Starscream, the outstanding Commander Class Jetfire, tucked into a corner sadly, just as I really don't want him to discolour at all. So I've tried to put him in the darkest area in the collection, and here's hoping that white plastic will be preserved. But then as we just take a look here, you can see we've got Perceptor, Hot Rod, Kingdom Ultra Magnus, as well as probably the best premium finish figure we've seen so far, that being the Siege Optimus Prime. That is such a nice redeco. We've got the new Studio Series Cliff Jumper, as well as the incredibly elusive Netflix Bumblebee. And just coming back up here, we've got Blaster, as well as two Studio Series Dinobots, a team of which is apparently going to get slightly bigger in the coming weeks. I'm actually really excited, of course, for the impending Swoop and Snarl, but these look really awesome. And then as we just take a look here, we've got Wheeljack, Ironhide, Scourge, Galvatron, Shockwave, Cyclonus, and Double Dealer. And just wrapping things off, of course, we do in fact actually have Studio Series Jazz. Coming up here now to some of the higher shelves, this is going to be slightly more difficult to in fact actually showcase, as I'm not tall enough to get into the detail, but you can see we've got Soundwave there, we've got Scrap Metal, truly just a miscellaneous selection of characters, Shattered Glass Megatron, we've got there the KO Skybreaker, as well as a Masterpiece Leo Convoy, and the Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime, I believe it's called. We've got their Covert Agent Ravage. And then as we just spin here, we do in fact actually have a mint on sealed card Battle Blades Bumblebee. Here we've got Run Amok, a few Masterpiece figures such as the Starscream and the Thundercracker, the original Devastator, toy version of Galvatron, Drift, the abysmal Toy World Optimus Prime. Whilst it looks incredible in terms of quality, oh my goodness, that's got to be one of the biggest piles of shit that I've ever taken a look at over on the channel. We've got their Runabout, the Reveltech Bumblebee. You can see there the Autobot Arc looking so awesome, as well as Masterpiece Prime, and a figure of which I've actually recently reviewed and unboxed over on the channel. You can see there the first edition Starscream, Super Megatron, as well as a few different 3-0 repaints, so the traditional Blitzwing, as well as the G1 style. And then as we just dip back down, you can see Air Razor and Tigertron, Revenge of the Fallen Deluxe Bumblebee, Shatter Dropkick, and a few core class figures, and a base massive KO movie masterpiece Starscream. You can just see how massive that is when compared there next to the Bumblebee movie Optimus Prime. And then wrapping things off, we do get the amazing Planet X Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, as well as of course there are a few Hot Toys Superman, Mysterio, and Batman. Very quickly going over a few non-Transformers related shelves. Here we've got the majority of, I would say, my Spider-Man inspired Hot Toys display. So you can see we've got the Venom, which is just such a fantastic piece. We do have there the Toy Zero Green Goblin, as well as Doc Ock, and buried beneath there you can see we've got the Spider-Man Far From Home Hot Toys figure, which looks fantastic. And then as we just come here to this section, you can see we've got the Hot Toys Rescue, Mark 85 Iron Patriot, as well as the Mark 1 Ultron. That there looks so awesome. We've got a Hot Toys Joker, the Nightmare Batman, and then as we take a look here at this almost final shelf, you can see we've got the 3-0 Revenge of the Fallen Optimus, a few Batman, Arkham City and Arkham Asylum figures, so Mr. Freeze, Killer Croc, as well as this fantastic DLX 3-0 Hulkbuster and Mark 45. And of course there's some more higher end figures such as the Masterpiece Jazz. We've got there the New Age Optimus Prime and Ultra Magnus. And then wrapping things up for this shelf, you can see we've got the MDLX 3-0 Bumblebee. Now very quickly before we delve into probably the most popular part of the collection, here we have a few leftover figures of which at the time of this recording I just haven't found a place for within the collection. These are figures that I don't want to put into storage, so I'm here's hoping that after this video I can find somewhere to put them. But you can see that it is literally just a mixed bag. So we've got some Studio Series figures, the majority of the Legacy releases, just as to be honest I don't think they're all great, but that Legacy Prime and Drag strip are definitely staying out. You can see there we've got the really cool Bumblebee movie Thrust. And we do in fact also have, I believe this was a Revenge of the Fallen figure. This here is Mindwipe. This is really cool. And we also do have his companion somewhere. That being Skystalker. I did do a throwback review of these guys back in 2020, and my goodness, these are probably some of the best Revenge of the Fallen figures that we've ever seen. And moving along to what is undeniably my favourite part about the entire collection, here we have the main backdrop that I use for a few different types of videos. So you can see we've got the enormous HasLab Unicron, which even after a year since receiving, still absolutely blows my mind. Honestly, the scale, as well as the attention to detail here for robot mode is just incredible. Sadly, of course, it's not as clean as some of those third-party offerings, but in regards to an actual display piece, this figure may in fact actually be one of the biggest showstoppers that I will undoubtedly ever own. This thing is huge. We've also got a brand new addition to the collection, that being this HasLab Razor Crest. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I really love the Mandalorian series, and I had to get this ship, and this is just such an amazing piece. To be honest, I actually think this is one of the best HasLabs that Hasbro put out. They really didn't skimp out on anything, and the paintwork absolutely shocked me. I was not expecting this to be painted literally from the nose of the ship all the way to the back. Everything is painted. I love the fact that you can indeed remove a few panels. Let me know down in the comment section below whether or not you would in fact actually like me to do some sort of showcase / review on this, but this is just such an outstanding piece, and the display base too is such an awesome touch. You can see there we've got the Plasma Series Ecto-1, we've got the Ghostbusters, Optimus Prime and Wheeljack, and then as we just spin here to the top, you can once again see we've got some really cool figures. So this is mainly some masterpiece, especially where the G1 characters are concerned. So you can see there, we've got the Deformation Space Starscream, just as personally I actually think this figure here is better than the official offering by Takara. We've got the MP44, we've got the Zeta Toys or the Studio Serial Unicron there. I do in fact actually have two variants of this, which I'll showcase in just a second, but we've got the Masterpiece Shockwave, as well as Soundwave, Ratchet, Sunstreaker, the DX9 Hot Rod, few Human Alliance figures, as well as the Spencer, of which I have in fact actually recently taken a look at over on the channel. Two versions of KO Ratchet, so the movie 1 version, and then the Dark of the Moon release. We do also in fact actually have the Comic Cave Age of Extinction Bumblebee and Optimus Prime, and not to forget the outstanding Takara Masterpiece Dinobot. As we just come here to this part of the display, you can see Unique Toys Lockdown, as well as the Killer Body voice-activated Bumblebee helmet. That is just such a fantastic piece. One of my favourite things that I actually own in the entire collection. And then, as we just come here to this area, a few third-party, as well as, once again, Masterpiece-esque figures. All looking really awesome. I do wish I could get slightly closer, but Unicron's in the way, and I just do not want to actually bump into him, as we may, in fact, actually have an enormous shelf avalanche, but you can see there we've got the Dr. Egg Quintesson Judge, a few more Masterpiece figures, as well as the incredible Devil Savior Devastator. Now this is actually a piece of which is going to conclude this year. We literally just need one more arm, and then this guy's done. You can see how I've got the Human Alliance Skids and Mudflap perched on him, and such a massive piece. These figures are not small by any stretch of the imagination, so he is definitely a very big figure. And then wrapping up for this portion of the display, we have what is potentially one of the best shelves in the entire collection, just as it's solely dedicated to live action movie figures and actually houses the majority of my Studio Series collection. So you can see here, we've got the Dark of the Moon Megatron, we've got there a few KO pieces, such as I believe this was an upgrade set, so in order to create the most accurate version of Jet-Powered Prime. We've got the KO upscale Sentinel Prime, which is just such a fantastic piece. Definitely a dream item for me. I've always wanted a massive version of that character, and I think it's safe to say that this figure definitely did deliver. As we just drop back down, you can see we've got the Core Class Shockwave, as well as the new Unmastered version of Bumblebee, and the Studio Series Ironhide, a figure of which is actually super hard to track down nowadays. We've also got a few Masterpiece figures actually injected within this display. You can see there the Off-Road Bumblebee, Q, as well as the DNA Design upgrade set for the Jet Power Studio Series Prime. And right there over at the back, you can see we've got Bone Crusher, Blackout, which are massive pieces. And then as we just come back down, we've got Studio Series Ratchet, Brawn, the fantastic Soundwave, and a figure of which, honestly, when it was announced, I was just overjoyed with, Studio Series Dino. This figure is just such a dream item to me. We've also got a few other figures which are buried at the back there, such as the Cybertronian Starscream. We've got the Hunt for the Decepticons Fallen, the Movie 1 RC, a design of which I actually think is incredibly underrated. It's such a cool version of the character. We've got the Rusty Evasion Mode Prime. Once again, a few different KOs, such as the Shockwave, as well as the biggest version of Movie Masterpiece Megatron. And then as we just dip back down once more, you can see there a few more Studio Series offerings, some leader class figures, as well as the Mechanical Alliance Rampage, Age of Extinction Galvatron, Unique Toys Galvatron, which is just such a fantastic piece, and not to forget the enormous Studio Series Devastator. So definitely by far my favourite shelf out of the entire collection. It just houses so many awesome figures, and who knows this time next year as to what we may in fact actually also find on this shelf. And then kind of wrapping up with the collection video, here we have the final two shelves. Now to be honest, these house the majority of, I would say, my premium scale collectibles. So we've got there the 3-0 enormous version of Transformers 5 Megatron. We've got a few DLX figures such as Soundwave, VW Bug Bumblebee, as well as the Hot Toys Pennywise, which is just such a fantastic figure. You can see there we've got a few other Batman related Hot Toys, the 3-0 Transformers The Last Night Optimus Prime, as well as the Alien Attack Dark of the Moon Megatron, and the Bingo Toys Bumblebee Movie Shockwave. Such fantastic third party pieces, honestly they look remarkable. You can see there we've got the DX Batman, as well as a few more 3-0 offerings such as the Dark of the Moon Megatron, Dark of the Moon Prime, Age of Extinction Evasion Mode Prime, and right at the back over there we've got the SH Monster Art Mechagodzilla. And then this top shelf is mainly filled with DC Hot Toys. So you can see we've got the Justice League, we've got some from the Arkham games, a few from the Suicide Squad movie, as well as the McFarlane toys, Nanaue, or of course King Shark. And then this portion just sort of houses a few miscellaneous figures, so a few Hot Toys, as well as a few third-party pieces. And just before we wrap this video up, we've got one last shelf to take a look at. You can see here houses what is essentially a Prime display. You can see we've got some 3.0 DLX Nemesis Primes, Shattered Glass Prime, Shattered Glass Soundwave, and then here we've got the more traditional B-Movie Prime, as well as a few more anime-inspired Optimuses. So you can see there, really cool looking figures, and of course the variant, or the more movie-accurate version, of the Zeta Toys Unicron. And so there was my updated collection video / Purge aftermath. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this. What do you think of the collection? Do you think that it's looking slightly more presentable when in comparison to what I showcased off in that Purge video? I'm just really hoping that the collection never gets in that state again, as it was just no way to display the figures at all. As mentioned in the Purge video and even in the garage haul, 9 times out of 10 I do tend halfway through the year to of course put more figures into storage and then bring some of the older ones back out, so I'll no doubt do a follow-up video to this probably around June or maybe late summertime, just to showcase how the collection is of course shaping up, and we'll no doubt have so many new figures, especially if rumours are to be true that the Transformers Rise of the Beast toy line is in fact actually going to release this year, and with the most recent reveal of an almost Cyberverse Adventures Smash and Change Optimus, which is undeniably just rebranding for Transformers Rise of the Beast, I definitely think that movie collection is going to be expanded by the end of this year. I'd really love to know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Out of all of the areas that I showcased in this video, which is your favourite part of the collection, and which figures do you guys think are some of the best? I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.